not a beautiful day for a ball game at Shea Stadium in New York. It's been overcast and drizzling all morning, but the Mets and Expos will attempt to get this one in, and Jack Buck and Tim McCarver will be there to tell us about it. Meantime, in the Metrodome, the Twins will host the California Angels, and among those enjoying the climate-controlled conditions, Dick Stockton and Jim Kaat, who will call that game. Hello, everyone. I'm Greg Gumbel in New York. Welcome to CBS Sports coverage of Major League Baseball. The headline story of this second week of the season took place last night in Oakland. Seattle's Brian Holman flirted with immortality, coming within an out of achieving one of the rarest feats in baseball, pitching a perfect game. Here's how the drama unfolded. The 25-year-old Holman picking up momentum as the game progressed, getting mighty Jose Canseco on strikes in the seventh, one of 7 he had in the game, and by now the Oakland fans cheering him on. But with 2 out in the ninth, his first pitch to pinch hitter Ken Phelps, tattooed to deep right center. Phelps' first homer of the year ruined the perfect game, the no-hitter, and the shutout. Holman came right back to get Ricky Henderson on strikes to end the game and settled for a one-hit 6-1 victory over Oakland. And joining us now live from outside the Oakland Coliseum is the man of the hour, Brian Holman. And Brian, first of all, congratulations. Number 2, what is the acknowledged book on Ken Phelps, and did you know it?
No, I didn't know it too well. We had heard that he was always a low fastball hitter and that he wasn't even a first pitch hitter, but like last night, I guess it wasn't meant to be. We just wanted to get a first pitch fastball over for a strike and then try to work him from there. And give him credit, he took the first fastball and hit it out of the ballpark.
It's tough these days not to know what's happening during a game. I'd like to know what your thoughts were as you went to the mound in the 9th inning.
I think it was exciting. I didn't know if it was going to happen. I said a prayer before I went out there and just said, Lord, if it's meant to be, if it's going to happen, let it happen. And after I got the 2 outs, I thought, you know, this just might happen. And it was exciting, and you just really can't explain the emotions that go through as it happens. But I'm just thankful that I just had the opportunity to try it anyway.
In about 15 seconds, Brian, is there a feeling of a little bit of a justification for the trade because you're one of the players the Mariners got in exchange for Mark Langston?
I just feel good being over here. It's exciting to be on such a young ball club with so much talent, guys like Ken Griffey Jr. and Greg Briley and people like that can contribute so much to this team. And the main thing last night was that we won and we can hopefully get out of this slump.
Brian Holman, close to perfection. Congratulations, Brian. Thank you.
Thank you.
Speaking of perfection, the Cincinnati Reds have yet to lose a game this season. On deck, we'll talk baseball with their new manager, Sweet Lou Piniella, as we continue here on CBS.
CBS Sports presents Major League Baseball. The pregame is brought to you by John Deere. Nothing runs like a deer. And by Rust-Oleum, when only the best will do.
A shortened spring training, a new league, a new team. These were all supposed to be obstacles facing Lou Piniella as he took the reins in Cincinnati. But the Reds have responded with 8 straight wins. And just a few moments ago, I spoke with Lou and I asked him to explain his success in light of the unusual circumstances.
Well, it would have helped the full complement of spring training. I got a chance for the players to learn the system that we're trying to bring in here. Also, so that we could learn them specifically. We could learn their strengths. We could learn their weaknesses if they have any, and I could utilize them better as a manager. But one of the things that's really helped us here is that one of the strengths of this ball club is our bullpen. And early in the season, because of the shortened spring training, our starters haven't been able to go. I think the most any of our starters have gone is 6 innings. So we've been able to go to our bullpen, and Dibble has been sensational. Randy's done a very good job back there, and also the rest of the bullpen, including Norm Charlton.
What have you done specifically to put your imprint on this team?
Well, first of all, we've got a good group of men here. They worked exceedingly hard this spring to get in shape. There was a very positive atmosphere in camp. And basically, I told them I want them coming to the clubhouse just to have fun, be relaxed, but be attuned to the fact that winning is what makes that all possible. And I told them that a lot of clubs have good talent, a lot of clubs don't win. So that we have to stay together as a team. We don't want any selfishness on this ball club. We want the players thinking team as opposed to I and me, and it's worked so far. And the players are playing hard on the field. They're playing with enthusiasm. They're playing very aggressive baseball. We've utilized our speed well here. We stole a lot of bases, and it's just been a good situation all around.
Yesterday, Lou Piniella's predecessor, Pete Rose, pleaded guilty to charges of tax evasion, so the club's strong start has at least bolstered the fans' spirits in Cincinnati, where their one-time idol continues to fall. But this week there was also news of a fallen idol who's coming back after 7 years. His name is Mike Norris, and I visited with him in Oakland.
I always visioned in my mind that I was capable of being one of the greatest pitchers in the game, and it's just an incredible feeling to know that you're the best.
10 years ago, Mike Norris was almost the best. The Cy Young Award runner-up won 22 games for Oakland. Ironically, his very success sowed the seeds for failure. At first, the decline was subtle, showing up only in box scores. By 1983, he was disabled by a shoulder ailment, and the inactivity intensified an even greater problem: cocaine. Mike spent some time, some bad times, here in East Oakland, running with the crowd and living the days and nights that bode well for no one. Forget the baseball career. Mike Norris's life was on the line.
Addiction is, of course, a disease. A lot of people, will ask you, how could you do that? How could you blow all that money? How could you throw a great career down the drain like that? It's not that you want to do it, but when you don't have the knowledge of why you're doing it, then it's a difficult thing to stop.
One day I came there and found him lying on the couch and the burrito lying down beside him. I knew then he was gone, so that's when I said, hey, something's got to be done. I'm going to just turn him in. Because I can't help him. He won't listen to me, and I know he needs more help than I could give him.
Her feelings was, the heck with baseball. I'd rather have my son living than to have baseball. I mean, it's going to be either death or he's going to kill himself.
After enjoying life at the top, Norris lived through fame's negative side and learned that it's lonely at the bottom.
When things really started going downhill for me, I can relate it to like rats jumping off a ship, and none of them even got wet. So they were all gone. The phone never rang anymore, and no one came by the house. And I found myself all alone at that particular point. So that's when I started realizing these people aren't friends at all.
After drug treatment, Norris set about rehabilitating his career with San Jose in the Class A League.
In spite of all of his problems, there was an emotional attachment between Mike, I think, and the Oakland Athletics that led us to say, okay, here's a guy who's had a lot of problems, but he's paid a very heavy price for those problems.
He wanted to be able to pitch, and because he felt he could contribute to Oakland. And then I think that he also wanted to give something back to Oakland.
And this year, Norris was welcomed home with open arms.
It was just the most incredible feeling. There was a lot of love, there was a lot of appreciation, and the fact that the fans were just too immense for me to describe it. It's just, I was overwhelmed by it.
This week, Mike Norris earned his first Major League victory in 7 years, a significant step on what's been a long road back.
I can't see myself going back to that world at all anymore. It's a done issue. I've learned an awful lot from it, and I try to say that I'm an intelligent man, and I think an intelligent man wouldn't do that again.
It was career victory number 58 for Mike Norris, but the save goes to his mother. Mike told me there is no doubt whatsoever she is the strongest factor in keeping his life moving in the right direction. Right now, we are set for baseball. I'll be here to bring you highlights and news updates throughout the afternoon. CBS Sports coverage of Major League Baseball continues from the stadium after this word from your local station.
Metrodome crowd is expected after the Twins brushed off the California Angels 13-1 last night. American League batting champion Kirby Puckett clubbed his first home run of the year, and today he'll face his former teammate from the 1987 World Champions, the daring Dutchman Bert Blyleven. So step inside the Metrodome. You've got the best seat in the house. The Angels and the Twins. CBS Sports presents Major League Baseball. And last night's game at the Metrodome was the home opener for the Minnesota Twins, the last team to open at home in the major leagues this year. And in one of the toughest divisions, if not the toughest, the American League West, it's like the Fox and the Hounds, as the Angels and the Twins, among others, are chasing the world champion Oakland A's. And good afternoon again, everyone. I'm Dick Stockton along with Jim Kaat. The California Angels, already a good pitching club, decided to strengthen that area with their acquisition of Mark Langston. But the question will always be about the Angels and their ability to challenge. Do they have enough offensive punch, Jim?
Well, they led the league in home runs last year, and they went out and they have another youngster, Dante Bichette, who even gives them more power this year. Here's a dramatic two-out, two-strike home run last Saturday that beat the Twins in extra innings. They need a little more production from Devon White in their lineup. And the reason their starting pitching is so effective, they will take the team into the 8th inning more than any other starting rotation in baseball.
Well, I'm sure that the Minnesota Twins would like some of those outstanding starters the Angels have, although they have a lot of good young ones. But the strength of the Minnesota club, led by Kirby Puckett, happens to be an incredible, strong middle lineup power and hitting. Other clubs would love to have that.
Well, the triangle of Puckett, Herbeck, and Gaetti, when you talk about power, when you talk about batting average and defensive ability and durability, you won't find a threesome in baseball any better than those three guys.
We have an interesting contrast, Jim, as far as the starting pitchers are concerned. Experience-wise, we have a young left-hander, Dave West, working for Minnesota. He came over from the Mets in the Frank Viola deal last year. And Bert Blyleven, an old friend here in Minnesota, 39 years old, works for the Angels.
Well, and when he's not pulling pranks on his teammates, he does a great job of pitching. Important to the Angels last year, he won 9 games after the Angels had lost. And, of course, they got beaten badly last night. Now, David West, on the other hand, is feeling comfortable with his spot in the pitching rotation after the Viola trade. All that controversy is gone. He's trying to become what Bert Blyleven has already accomplished.
So Blyleven, the right-hander, West, the southpaw, work today. Both pitchers looking for their first victory of 1990.
CBS Sports presents Major League Baseball. Today's game is brought to you by the new generation of Oldsmobiles. Step into the future now at your Oldsmobile dealer. Extra strength Rolaids with 1,000 milligrams of fast relief. Rain Dance Car Wax, the longest lasting protection you can buy. And by the great taste that's a home run every time, it's Diet Pepsi, the right one.
Back at the Metrodome in Minneapolis, where the Minnesota Twins, who have now won 3 in a row, and the Angels on a 4-game losing streak right now. They're the umpires. Rick Reed will call balls and strikes this afternoon. Darrell Cousins will be at first base. The second base umpire will be Terry Cooney, and the crew chief will be at third, Joe Brinkman.
You know, last year you mentioned the Angels and the Twins. The Angels beat the Twins 11 out of 13 games. And even though they're not one of the better hitting teams in the league, they scored about 6 runs a game. And the Twins were only able to score about 3. So they're trying to turn things around this year.
You know, the Angels were in first place as late as August the 20th. They won over 90 games and finished third. And, of course, everyone's chasing the A's, who lost last night in that dramatic, near-perfect game. Brian Holman in the 6-1 victory. And there you're looking at Bert Blyleven in his second tour of duty. Was in Minnesota, has been well-traveled, and with a tremendous comeback year with the Angels last season. Let's take a look now at the Minnesota Twins and how they'll play defensively today, Jim.
Well, in left field, they'll have Dan Gladden. Kirby Puckett, as usual, be in center field. And over in right field, against the right-hand pitcher today, Randy Bush. The infield, Gary Gaetti, Gold Glover at third. Al Newman will play shortstop today. Craig Gagne gets a rest. Fred Manrique, just acquired before the start of the season, is at second. Kent Herbeck is the first baseman, and behind the plate, home run in last night's ball game, Brian Harper. 25-year-old left-hander David West looking for his first win of the year. Good live fastball, improved breaking ball from when he came over. Tom Kelly and pitching coach Dick Such trying to work with West on establishing the inside corner of the plate. And what they like to see from West, even though he's a hard thrower, sometimes his control is so true, hitters tend to dig in a little bit on him. They like to see him make the hitters a little more uncomfortable.
Let's take a look at the Angels lineup against Dave West. Brian Downing, the designated hitter, will lead off. Devon White will be in center field hitting second. Johnny Ray will be at second, batting in the number 3 slot. Wally Joyner will bat cleanup today at first base. Chili Davis will be in left field hitting 5th. Dante Bichette, who's off to a great start, will be in right field. John Orton, rookie catcher, will hit 7th. Jack Howell, the third baseman, batting in the number 8 position, and Kent Anderson, the shortstop, hitting 9th, as Doug Rader has really shuffled his lineup today, trying to get some punch in that lineup, and in particular, you mentioned hoping that Devon White gets going.
Devon White has been the leadoff hitter. This is the first game he's not going to hit in the leadoff spot. Ideally, that's where they want him. He's not been productive. Brian Downing, even though he's not blessed with great speed, has the best on-base percentage for him, and he's kind of a high-intensity player, and that's why Doug Rader wants to give him a shot at leading off.
West 3-4 last year. Overall, 3-2 in a Twins uniform. And his biggest problem was gaining maturity. I guess every young pitcher, and he's 25 years old. He's not young age-wise, but as far as experience-wise, he is quite young.
Well, take a look at 6'6", 220 pounds, and obviously you have more mechanical problems at that size than a smaller person. And what they've tried to do is work with David West on his mechanics, get him in a little better rhythm where he can throw strikes on a consistent basis.
Also has developed a change with a little tail to it, which has helped him as well. And in talking with him last night, he feels that now he's settled. He's glad that he's in Minnesota after all the rumors that he might be traded when he was with the Mets, and just pleased.
Yeah, that's a big part of it, being comfortable. That's what good managers do. They make their players feel comfortable. And last year, David said he would come to the ballpark when he was still with the Mets. Am I going to be on the big league club? Am I going to Tidewater? Are they going to trade me? Well, now he knows he's going to get the ball every 5 days, and he should make some improvement.
Let's take a look at the Metrodome, where it's 343 feet down the left field line, 327 down the right field line, and you see what they do in the power alleys. It's 408 to straightaway center. Notice in right field, they have that, well, they've called it every name from a hefty bag to whatever. It's actually a tarp, and it's 23 feet high because of the balls that really flew out of here. Here's Brian Downing leading off for the Angels in the top of the first. The first pitch is a fastball, foul back, strike one. This is Downing's 17th full year in the big leagues, last 12 with California. Infield and outfield playing straight away and back. Off-speed pitch, and the count 1-1. Two balls and a strike.
Good example right there of the flat breaking ball. You see how that ball kind of broke around the plate, didn't have much down break to it. That's where they want to see West make some improvement.
Swings and misses on a good fastball out of the strike zone. And the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Talk about Downing's intensity. He has swung like this since he's come to the big. Watch him leave his feet. I mean, an aggressive fastball hitter. Really the first guy that began to use weight training in the offseason, build himself up.
Has a little Sadahara ode to him a little bit on that swing. Swings and misses. Good fastball by West, and Downing goes down on strikes.
Kind of typical of the Angels offense. We mentioned they led the league in home runs last year, but they also struck out more than any other team. And they want a leadoff hitter that can make contact, get on base, and steal some bases.
Here's the center fielder, Devon White, a switch hitter, batting right-handed. Hitting 171 on the year. Off to a slow start this season. Swing and a miss, and they're taking big cuts on pitches that are out of the strike zone. White with a career low, 245 in his 5-year career last season. One out, nobody on. Johnny Ray on deck for the Angels. We're in the top of the first, just the start of things here at the Metrodome. Fouls off the pitch, and the count, no balls and 2 strikes.
Foul balls tell you about what kind of stuff a pitcher. See where that pitch was fouled off right over the first base. That tells you David West has an exceptional fastball. White's a little late on it.
Ball outside, 1 ball and 2 strikes to Devon White.
Talk about West's curveball. Brian Harper wants him to see the glove down there. They put the glove down the home plate, almost on the ground. Wants him to get that curveball down.
And the pitch hits him in the foot. And White's going to go on at first base, trying to shake it off.
Well, that's good and bad for the Angels. Good because they've had trouble getting men on. There's that flat breaking ball again. Catches Devon White in the ankle. But if it's a serious injury, here's a guy that represents their best base stealing threat.
So Devon White is on at first base. He stole 44 of the team's 89 bases last year, nearly half. So he is a threat to run. And Johnny Ray, another switch hitter, batting in the number 3 slot today. The second baseman is hitting .212 on the year, has a homer and 4 runs batted in. But as a right-handed batter, Johnny Ray is still looking for his first hit of the 1990 season. Infield is a double play depth. Runner doesn't go. The pitch taken for a strike.
He had no intent of swinging at that pitch. That's the value of a Johnny Ray. He can take a couple pitches and let White steal if he wants to.
Herbeck holding the runner on. Fouls the fastball on the screen, and the count, no balls and 2 strikes. Johnny Ray, Dad taught him to switch hit. Played 7 years in a Pirate uniform before he was traded to the Angels late in the '87 year. No balls and 2 strikes. That nearly hit him, and he has to hopscotch out of the way of that one, and the count is 1-2. So far Dave West is ahead on the count, but his control hasn't been there.
Well, that's a pitch by design. Tom Kelly uses the expression, make the hitters move their feet. Don't let them be comfortable. So when he gets ahead in the count, you're going to see him throw the ball inside and try and move these guys off the plate.
Wally Joyner is on deck for the Angels. White with a short lead at first, and West goes over there. And they got him trapped. Herbeck's thrown, and out at second base, shortstop Al Newman did not get the best of all throws to the third base side, had to come around, but he tags out White, and there are 2 away.
Well, and what makes this play, the important thing on this play is once Kent Herbeck catches the ball, here's the danger. With Devon White right in the path of the throw, let's see where Al Newman catches the ball. Well inside. So Herbeck throws the ball to the inside of the bag so Newman can see it, catch it, and make the tag.
So there are 2 out, and the 1-2 pitch misses. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Johnny Ray. So Devon White is caught stealing from the catcher to the first baseman to the shortstop, Al Newman. Just misses inside. They appeal to first base umpire Cousins, and the count runs full now to 3-2 to Johnny Ray. Big burly left-hander Dave West looking for his first victory. 0-2 on the year. 3-2 pitch, and it's popped up to the right side. Herbeck straddling the line, makes the catch in foul territory, and the side is retired. So the Twins come up in the first. Angels nothing, Twins coming to bat. Minnesota Twins coming to bat in the first inning here at the Metrodome. And Bert Blyleven, an old favorite here in the Twin Cities, first 6 years here in Minnesota, then returned in 1985. And the Minnesota Twins batting order facing Blyleven this afternoon. Leading off will be Dan Gladden, the left fielder. Gene Larkin, the designated hitter, bats second. Herbie Puckett with a big 2-run homer hitting third in center field. Kent Herbeck at first base batting cleanup. Gary Gaetti will be at third base hitting fifth. Randy Bush, the right fielder, in the number 6 position. Brian Harper behind the plate hitting 7th. Fred Manrique will be at second base batting 8th, and Al Newman, the shortstop, hitting 9th for the Twins.
And in the field for the Angels, they'll have Chili Davis in left. Devon White will be in center field, and the youngster Dante Bichette in right. On the infield, Jack Howell is playing third. Kent Anderson in place of the injured Dick Schofield at short. Johnny Ray's at second. Wally Joyner is the first baseman. Behind the plate today, giving Lance Parrish a rest, is young John Orton. And on the mound, the Dutchman, 39-year-old curveballer, Bert Blyleven. Just second to Nolan Ryan in the active pitchers for career wins. He's got 271.
And one of the best curveball pitchers perhaps of all time has added a straight change, and that makes his fastball even more than adequate in the mid-80s. He'll be facing Dan Gladden, who's hitting .350. Has 21 hits to lead the Twins. Infield plays in the pull. The outfield slightly around to the left.
mentioned that curveball with Bert Blyleven. Most pitchers have to make a lot of adjustments when you pitch for 20 years. Bert Blyleven has the same sharp curveball today that he had when he came up at age 20. Been able to maintain it. That's unusual.
First pitch to Gladden, and that hits him in the back.
And that's a little purpose pitch right there. 13-1 game last night where the Twins waxed the Angels, and after a couple of David West's pitches, Bert's control is better than that. As a pitcher, you make a choice there. You put one of their better base stealers on first base, but you also have a responsibility to protect your own hitters.
So we have already had 2 hit batsmen in the game, and Dan Gladden is on at first base. Here is the designated hitter Gene Larkin, and he takes a called strike. Larkin, switch hitter, is batting .350 as a left-handed batter. This is his second full year. His RBI total dropped. And there's an off-speed pitch swung on and missed for a strike. 0-2. Blyleven 17-5, 4th in the American League in earned run average last year after losing 17 games the previous season. That prompted the trade. Gladden, the runner at first, held on by Joyner. Change-up misses, and it's 1-2.
That first pitch that hit Gladden, it's sort of like Bert comes into the Metrodome, sees all of his old buddies and friends, and it's a friendly atmosphere, and then he said, hey, I just want you to know I'm the enemy. And the first pitch, bang, right in the ribs.
1 ball, 2 strikes. The runner doesn't go. Fastball in tight. 2-2. And of course, you don't see that as much now. I think you'll see that more of the pitchers from your time, or guys that started at that time, who will have payback days.
A guy like Bert Blyleven, still popular, of course, right here in the Twin Cities, has the kind of control that he can do that without injuring somebody.
And the runner goes. The pitch, breaking ball inside. Throw to second. Not in time. Good pitch to run on, and Gladden has a stolen base.
Well, a good guess by Dan Gladden. The easiest pitch to steal on is the curveball, because it's tougher for the catcher to handle. Now, Dan looks in at Larkin as if that's a hit and run. Ball well out of the strike zone. See him look in right there just to pick up the ball. So that was a hit and run sign that Larkin, because the curveball was low, didn't swing at, still get the stolen base.
3 balls and 2 strikes. Time is called at the plate. Second stolen base of the season for Gladden. He stole 23 last year for the Twins. Nobody out. The count 3 balls and 2 strikes on Gene Larkin. Fouled at the plate. On deck for Minnesota, Kirby Puckett. There's Puckett, who's come alive at the plate. Big 2-run drive to right center last night. Ken Anderson trying to keep Gladden close to second base. Bounding ball to first. Joyner handles it. Gladden will go to third. 1 out and a runner at third base. Third base coach is Rick Rennick for the Minnesota Twins. And over at first, the Twig, Wayne Twilliger. Last night with his 43rd opening day.
Probably not a happier scene in Minnesota baseball history in recent years than after the Twins won the World Championship and seeing the glow on Wayne Terwilliger's face here in 1987.
Well, here's Kirby Puckett, the franchise. American League batting champion. With 1 out and a runner at third, takes a fastball up.
A little mind game going on right now between Kirby and Bert. Of course, Bert has that outstanding curveball, which Kirby will anticipate, but yet he starts him out there with a high fastball.
A line drive will be a base hit to center field. Scoring is Gladden, and the Twins lead it 1-0. And for Kirby Puckett, that's his 8th RBI of the year.
Well, Blyleven got the curveball up. You'll see this ball break in about bell time. When Kirby comes to the plate, he has one thought in mind. Hit the ball hard through the middle. He's probably hit more pitchers with line drives than any other hitter. That kind of philosophy pays off.
G-Man. Jim Kaat referred to the strong middle lineup, the number 3, 4, 5 hitters of the Twins, and here's the cleanup batter, Kent Hrbek, who's hitting .281 with a couple of homers. Takes the pitch inside for ball 1.
How about a little versatility? Here he is hitting in the cleanup spot. Last night hitting 7th. He laid down a sacrifice bunt that helped the Twins get their first 2 runs and go on to win the ball game.
Puckett a threat to run on at first base and fouled off to the right. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Kent Hrbek is a little unusual. You know, he takes a little heat in Minnesota because of his weight. Get on him about his weight, especially when he's not hitting well. But he has probably the best hand-eye coordination. You see the bottom 2 fingers off the bat, and most power hitters have the bat way back. He leans it right on his shoulder, very close to his neck.
Here's the 1-1 pitch. A high fly ball hit to right center field, way back, looking up, back at the screen, and it's gone for a home run. And Hrbek. With his 3rd home run of the year.
Well, last weekend in Anaheim, he hit home run number 400 that Bert Blyleven had given up. And he gets his former teammate here again. Blyleven not sharp with his breaking ball here in the early going. Hung one to Puckett. Now that got that ball up in the strike zone.
So a single RBI by Puckett and a 2-run homer by Hrbek. And here's Gary Gaetti. Takes a slider outside, ball 1. Gaetti, the Twins' 3rd baseman, is hitting .250. Gaetti has done well against the curveball slants of Blyleven. And he's giving him anything but that. Pitches in for a strike, 1-1. Twins with 3 runs in here in the 1st inning. They won last night 13-1. Change-up is fouled at the plate.
You know, indoor baseball is still relatively new, but no one has more indoor home runs than that man, Kent Hrbek.
We were talking about his weight. He says, look, I'm about 250 pounds, but the Twins don't seem to mind. So he doesn't regard it as a problem. But he's reminded about it. Pitch misses. And the count to Gaetti. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Bases are clear, 1 away. Fastball line up the middle for a base hit. He got that pitch up. So 3 straight hits by the Twins, including Hrbek's homer.
Well, that 3, 4, and 5 slot we mentioned, you won't find many better in baseball than Puckett, Hrbek, and Gaetti. Gaetti, a good high fastball hitter, and got one right there. Marcel Latchman is the Angel pitching coach. Of course, when they don't get good production out of their starters, then the Angels are in trouble. They're not real deep in the middle innings until they get to their closer, Brian Harvey.
Doug Rader was talking about the fact that Mike Witt could be used as a possible long man today. Of course, Witt kind of the odd man out with the acquisition of Mark Langston. Langston and Witt combined for a no-hitter in the first week of this season. So far, nothing doing in the Angels bullpen. And here's Randy Bush, the right fielder. 1 out, Gaetti the runner at first. Fastball hit in the air, deep to right field. Bichette is back, looking up, and it's over. The top for a home run. 2-run homer for Randy Bush. And are they tattooing Bert Blyleven here in the 1st inning?
One characteristic of Bert Blyleven for years, watch him stick out his tongue right here. They used to say, why can't hitters pick that up? see him he'll stick his tongue out. He used to do it on his curveball all the time, but that was a fastball. Randy Bush got it down in the power zone about thigh high. And Bert not sharp here in the first inning.
Brian Harper, 7th man to bat here in the first inning, takes a call strike. For Bush's first homer of the year. Blyleven with a slider outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. 5 runs in here in the first inning for the Twins. They scored 9 runs in the 5th inning last night. Breaking ball hit out to right field. Bichette has a play, and he's there for out number 2. And we have activity in the California bullpen.
Sherman Corbett worked in last night's ball game. Of course, they ran everybody in there last night, 13-1.
Fred Manrique with 2 out, and the base is empty. Looks at a breaking ball for a strike. Manrique acquired from the Texas Rangers during spring training. Bounced foul past Rennick. Blyleven has had success against the Twins, 7-3 lifetime against Minnesota, including a victory over Dave West here last year. But a different story today. Line drive, left field. Let's see if it stays fair. And it is foul. What's going through Doug Rader's mind watching this onslaught, a repeat of last night, Jim?
Well, it's a little different experience for Doug because he's not concerned about the pitching very often. It's usually the offense. But here he's got back-to-back games where his team has been out of the game by the 3rd or 4th inning. Pitching is usually something he can depend on.
No balls and 2 strikes to Manrique. Fastball misses inside, 1-2. Well, the Twins were always regarded as a potent offensive team. They're question mark pitching.
Now Fred Manrique and Al Newman will be needling one another. Newman is playing shortstop today about who's going to hit a home run. Neither one of them really home run threats, but Manrique misses one there by just inches.
1-2 pitch hit hard, but to center field. Devon White back there makes the catch, but Manrique gave it a ride. 5 runs on 4 hits and 2 homers off of Bert Blyleven in the first inning. Twins with 5 big runs in the first inning lead the Angels. But let's move around to the National League and in the West. They were rained out last night, but the Reds still have the only undefeated record, winning their first 8 games under Lou Piniella. Jim?
Kind of interesting. Louis P. has gone in there with a rather disciplined approach. The players have responded to it. They like it. Maybe getting out of New York was a good thing for him.
They've been getting good relief. Chris Sabo off to a great start for the Reds. And they're hitting through the lineup. Angels second inning, Wally Joyner leading off against left-hander Dave West. Fastball for a strike.
I mentioned Cincinnati. I remember about 5 years ago when Paul O'Neill came up. A lot of people, myself included, said this kid has a swing that's as close to Ted Williams as any I've seen.
1-1.
Now, of course, Larkin and Paul O'Neill are really the offensive leaders of that ball club.
Breaking ball is inside 2-1 after Joyner. Chili Davis is on deck and Dante Bichette to follow. There's Davis. 2 balls and a strike. He jammed him in a pop-up to the right side of the infield. Fred Manrique makes the catch. 1 away.
Well, the challenge right here for David West is to be able to continue to pitch as if the game was 0-0. Kevin Tapani did a remarkable job last night. 13-1 victory for the Twins, and yet Tapani didn't walk anybody, just kept on throwing strikes regardless of the score.
Switch hitting Chili Davis, hitting .282, but only .214 as a right-handed batter with 1 out here in the second inning. Fouls off the first pitch. Davis loves the Metrodome. Hit 4 home runs here last year.
People might say, referring to West, people might say, what's so hard about throwing strikes? But mentally, in a game like this, a 5-run lead, sometimes you tend to relax a little bit, not consider each out quite as important.
Would a youngster like West, who hasn't pitched that long in the big leagues, fall into that kind of casual atmosphere, even though he's still trying to find himself in the big league, even with the lead?
Got to pitch with that tunnel vision, as if the hitter doesn't even exist, just right down toward the catcher.
Pitches outside 2-1. Of course, if the Twins continue to get efforts from Tapani like last night, and if West does well, they're going to forget that Frank Viola trade with the Mets that brought them 5 hurlers, including Aguilera, who's their short man in the bullpen. 2-1 pitch. 3 balls and a strike now to Chili Davis.
What could make this an enjoyable year for those that follow the Minnesota Twins? In fact, the expectations are not as high as they were a couple years ago after they won the World Championship. This is a year where they're going to develop young pitchers like West and Tapani.
Ball 4. So Davis is aboard with 1 out here in the 2nd inning. It's the first walk given up by West. Now we'll get a good look at the youngster you featured in the opening today and our pregame, Dante Bichette. Besides already 5 assists in the outfield, off to a great start, leading the Angels with 24 hits. Ball 1 to him.
Now, we showed that dramatic 3-run home run he hit against the Twins last weekend in Anaheim. Of course, when you talk about outfielders and speed and throwing arms, you think of Jose Canseco in the 40-40.
Breaking ball misses, and it's 2-0.
They were kidding the other day about Bichette. You know, already has 5 assists. Could he be a 40-40 guy? 40 home runs, 40 assists. You have to go back in history a ways. Chuck Klein did that, and I guess more recently a name people would relate to, Johnny Callison one year had 25 home runs and 25 assists from the outfield.
He's off to a good start. That pitch is low, and now West falls behind Bichette 3-0. Davis on at first base with 1 out. 5-0. Twins in front. Taking all the way for a strike.
Well, you talk about arms in the major leagues. Jesse Barfield, one of the best, and Roberto Clemente.
Swing and a miss on a fastball up, and the count is 3-2. And Hal Jeffcoat, who is an outfielder converted to a pitcher. Dave West, whose earned run average of 2.77 belies that 0-2 record. Davis the runner at first base with 1 out. 5-0 Minnesota. 3-2 pitch, swung on and missed, strike 3. And Bichette goes down. That's the 2nd strikeout of the game for West.
Sometimes in games like this, there are certain at-bats that are very important to a pitcher, and that was one for West. He'd fallen behind 3-0, and he was starting to become a thrower instead of a pitcher, so coming back and getting Bichette right there, very important.
Here's a rookie catcher, John Orton. Looks at a curveball on the inside corner for a strike. Orton has been to the plate only 3 times this year, still looking for his first hit. Native of Santa Cruz, California, swings and misses on a fastball, and it's 0-2. For a called strike. 2 strikeouts this inning, 3 so far for Dave West, and it's 5-0 Minnesota. Well, the Minnesota Twins, who in 9 at-bats, 9 innings of at-bats, have scored 18 runs, will bring up the number 9 hitter, Al Newman. Comebacker to Blyleven, makes the play, and there's 1 out. So the switch hitting Newman is retired on 1 pitch. Well, how important is it, people say, to get off to a good start in a long season? I guess it does pay.
Well, the graphic right there will tell you those teams that don't start very well seldom reach the playoffs. And I guess simply put, Cincinnati and Oakland would be the percentages to make the playoffs already this early in the year.
So let's end the season now. Not quite.
Be okay with Piniella and LaRussa, right?
Sure. Here's Dan Gladden up for the second time, was hit by a pitch in the first inning, and he takes a fastball in tight. Gladden was hit in the back, stole a base, and eventually came around on Kirby Puckett's RBI single. On the corner. 1 ball and 1 strike to Gladden. Kind of a throwback of a hard charging, tough kind of guy who hustles all the time. Ground ball to third base. Jack Howell. And there are 2 gone.
Yeah, Dan Gladden would be a candidate for the John Madden team. He's got that middle linebacker approach. That's the way he loves to play the game, and it's had a good effect on this entire Minnesota Twins team since he's come here.
That'll bring up Gene Larkin, the designated hitter, who bounced out to Wally Joyner at first base. Sort of a change up in there for a strike. Slap to the left side. Howell in front of Anderson with the play, and a quick inning this time for Blyleven. 1-2-3 with few pitches thrown. 5-0 after 2. Dick Stockton and Jim Kaat here at the Metrodome in Minneapolis. Angels trailing the Twins 5-0 as we go to the 3rd inning. Jack Howell, California third baseman, takes ball 1. Howell hitting .286 with 2 runs batted in. It's the left-hander batting in the 8th slot today. This is the fastball. Howell hits it in the air in foul territory. Gary Gaetti has a play. He makes the catch for out number 1. Right now, let's go to New York for an update and Greg Gumbel. Greg?
All right, Dick, first inning at Cleveland. Tom Candiotti serves up the home run pitch to Carlos Martinez with 2 on of the White Sox, his first of the year. That's the first home run hit off Cleveland pitching this year. The White Sox lead the Indians 4-0 in the 2nd inning. Back to Dick and Jim in Minneapolis.
All right, Greg, thank you. And, of course, the Chicago White Sox, one of the big surprises, winning 5 of their first 7.
Hey, we talk about the strength in the Western Division, but you never mentioned the White Sox.
I apologize.
They are off to a good start.
Ken Anderson, the shortstop, batting in the number 9 slot, takes ball 1. One of your former teams. Played there under Chuck Tanner. Some good days in Chicago. Line drive hit to right center field. Kirby Puckett on the run, makes the catch for the 2nd out.
Well, you notice all the balls hit by the Angels so far, the hitters are late. Howell pops the ball, foul territory down third base. West has an exceptionally live fastball.
He has a fastball that tails, and he also has kind of a cut fastball. And good velocity. Here's Brian Downing. Second time around for the Angels, takes ball 1. Struck out in the 1st. Breaking ball in there for a strike.
Maybe a quick explanation when we talk about a tailing fastball and a cut fastball. As West pitches to Downing, the ball will tail away from him, or he can cut it in toward him.
2 balls and a strike.
The cut fastball, very much like a slider from a left-hand pitcher, it will break into the right-hand hitter.
Breaking ball away. 3 balls and a strike to Brian Downing. David West looking for his first victory of the year. 0-2. This is his 3rd start. And staked to an early 5-run lead. Fastball fouled at the plate. Full count now.
Another vicious swing by Downing. And when you look at the Angels record book, that young man at 39, I remember him as a young man coming up as a catcher with the White Sox, is the leader in just about every offensive category for the Angels.
Played in more games for the Angels than anyone else in franchise history. Here's the payoff pitch. Ball 4. And the second walk issued by David West. A 2-out base runner is Downing. It'll bring up Devon White, who was hit by a pitch and then was trapped off first. Ball strike. White hacks away, doesn't draw many walks. In tight to him.
It's one of the reasons he's dropped out of the leadoff spot. Doug Rader would like to see him having at bat like Brian Dye. I mean, this kid is going to be a star. He's an outstanding center fielder, great speed, hits from both sides of the plate. When he finds a spot that he's comfortable in, he'll be one of the stars in the American League.
2 balls and a strike to Devon White.
You know, mentally, I think he would like to hit in that 3, 4, 5 spot, but to make this club go, they need him in the leadoff spot.
Fouls off the pitch and the count 2-2. So, as you mentioned, despite the fact that Doug Rader had the luxury of the most home runs hit by a club last year, 145, they didn't score all that many runs. They had a lot of people, though, who did hit 10 or more homers, 8 to be exact. But they're looking for more balance. Runner at first with 2 out. Here's the 2-2 pitch, and it's grounded into the hole in right field for a base hit. Downing will stop at second as Bush gets it back to the infield. So runners are at first and second with 2 away to Johnny Ray. That's the first base hit of the game for California.
Remember, we mentioned last week in talking about the Astros and the Dodgers, and when you have speed, you try to hit the ball on the ground and not in the air. Devon White did it there. Good things happen.
Ray, a switch hitter, as was White, fouled out to Ken Herbeck, his first trip. Slowly hit to the right side, and Herbeck will have the easy play to retire the side. There was a hit and 2 left, and we'll return to the Metrodome after this message and a word from your local station. Leading 5-0, and Kirby Puckett leading off.
But a lot of intelligence reports available to American League managers today. Now, just to simplify those numbers, what that tells you is when Kirby hits the ball in that middle wedge, he's almost a 600 hitter.
Pitchers beware. Singled and drove a run in the first inning. Looks at a curveball outside, ball 1.
You know, and the simplest approaches are usually the best. Twins hitting coach Tony Oliva had a very simple approach. See the ball, hit the ball. If I can reach it, I can hit it. And all Kirby tries to do, hit it hard and hit it up the middle.
Fastball on the corner for a strike. 1-1 to Puckett. Bert Blyleven struggled in the first inning. Threw only 6 pitches to retire the side in order in the second.
As much as coaches like to monitor pitch counts, those numbers there are important because of the 28 in the first inning. Talked about it with Mike Scott last week. When you throw that many early, it takes a lot out of you.
2-1 pitch in there. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And Doug Rader told us before the game, he said Bert threw a lot of pitches in his last start. So he's going to be monitoring the 39-year-old veteran closely. Trailing 5-0. And the count 2-2 to Puckett, leading off here in the third. And the count is full. On deck is Ken Herbeck with Gary Gaetti to follow. So the heart of the order up here for the Twins. American League batting champion facing Bert Blyleven. Fastball and a beauty on the outside corner, and Puckett goes down.
Well, like a lot of great pitchers, they struggle in the early innings. Now look at this control. This fastball moves right back across the outside corner. Kirby thinks it's outside, but that was a good pitcher's pitch by Blyleven.
First strikeout of the game for Bert Blyleven. And here's Ken Herbeck looking at strike 1. Herbeck with a 2-run homer in the first inning. Twins the beneficiaries of 2 2-run blasts by Herbeck and Randy Bush. Rounded to first base, Joyner. one of the best first basemen, makes the play, and there's 2 down. Coming up next,
Come on, G-Man.
the Greater Greensboro Open, and Jim Gallagher has a 1-stroke lead.
Freddie Couples, one of the longest hitters out on tour. He's usually up there in the top 10.
Tommy Armour III.
Pretty good heritage right there.
Gary Gaetti with a base hit his first time up and scored a run. Infield playing back and straight away. Slow curved up high, ball 1. Gaetti last year was one of the big stories here in Minnesota. Loss of intensity, change in temperament, caught a lot of people's attention.
That was the key thing, that his teammates didn't know how to react to it. This year, a much different atmosphere, very relaxed.
Fastball, grounded foul.
You know, watching Joyner make that simple play, and you mentioned one of the better fielding first basemen, the American League is really blessed with a lot of good first basemen. I think Ken Herbeck defensively is the best I've ever seen. Joyner doesn't get a lot of recognition because of Mattingly and Pete O'Brien.
1-1 pitch. Right, now wait a second now. I'm not going to let that get away. Best you've ever seen.
Best I've ever seen. That's a strong statement. I played with Hernandez. I've seen Mattingly. I'll put him against anybody.
Wow. Curveball just inside. 2-2 to Gaetti.
And I was like you. I was a skeptic till I had a chance to see him on a more regular basis. But he makes plays that are unbelievable.
Who's the second best first baseman?
Hernandez.
2-2 pitch. 3 balls and 2 strikes. That's Ken Herbeck, who has a home run with a man aboard.
Grew up about 5 blocks from the old stadium here, the old Met out in Bloomington.
Decided to sign with the Twins. Could have gotten more money elsewhere. Staying alive is Gary Gaetti with 2 out here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. The Minnesota Twins lead the California Angels 5-0. Bert Blyleven touched for 5 runs in the 1st inning, including a pair of 2-run homers, Ken Herbeck and Randy Bush. 2 down, nobody on base. Line drive, base hit to left field. Hit number 5 for the Minnesota Twins. Gaetti is 2 for 2. Would you like to be second to the big train? That's what my partner is here, huh?
That's pretty good company right there.
So. And you're pretty good too. And look at those names. Camilo Pascual, a pitch for the Washington Senators, as you did, and Jim Perry,
brother of Gaylord. Big
Career.
Train, 416.
Another year or 2, and you would have been right up there with him. You know? Randy Bush hits it in the air to left field. Coming on is Chili Davis, and he makes the play for the 3rd out. No runs, a hit, and 1 left. We've completed 3 with the Twins leading. Back here at the Metrodome, this is what we've had so far. 5-run 1st inning for the Twins. Herbeck and Bush each hit homers with a man aboard. Wally Joyner looks at a breaking ball inside, 1-0. Joyner popped out to the second baseman Fred Manrique his first time up. Fouls it off. Good contact hitter is Joyner.
Yeah, once the Angels get their lineup filled with more guys that can get on base hits, here's the guy that can drive them in. Right now they're kind of a home run or nothing type of team.
Well, his RBI total and has dropped each of the last 4 years, become more of a hitter for average. Here's a hitter, line drive to center field, right center for a base hit. Puckett cuts it off, and Wally Joyner has the 2nd hit of the game for the Angels. Great throw into second base.
A lot of times when you look at Wally Joyner's record and you say, boy, his RBI production is down, but you have to have men on the base to knock in, and that hasn't been the case for the Angels last couple years.
Well, they have an opportunity here with switch hitting Chili Davis, who walked his first trip. Davis, the big offensive force last year, led the Angels in RBIs for the 2nd year in a row. He drove in 90. Fastball, strike 1, and that was of the tailing variety. West has allowed 2 hits, has walked 2 and struck out 2.
1 ball and 1 strike.
Now, the one thing, most teams, when they're behind early like this, it's very difficult for them to come back. It is for any team, but the advantage the Angels have is they do have about 7 guys in their lineup capable of hitting a home run, getting them back in the game.
Hard hit line drive right at Kirby Puckett. And that's not the easiest play to handle. Right now for an update, let's check in again in New York with Greg Gumbel. Greg?
Dick, 4th inning, Montreal's Tim Raines with the shot to left. Watch the play by the Mets' Kevin McReynolds. And although Marquise Grissom advances to 3rd, he didn't score. Frank Viola unscored on in 17 2/3 innings this season. They are scoreless in New York. Back to Dick and Jim at the Metrodome.
All right, Greg. Angels trying to get something going here in the 4th inning. Trailing 5-0, Dante Bichette takes a breaking ball inside. He struck out his first time up. 1 out. Wally Joyner on at first base in a 5-0 game. Fastball, broken bat, 1 hopper over to second for 1. Manrique's throw to first. Double play to retire the side. The first double play of the game. And after 3.5, that it's still 5-0 Twins. Bert Blyleven has settled down after getting tagged for 5 runs in that first inning. And of course, when you pitch 21 years, you pick up some pretty impressive numbers, don't you?
The impressive thing about Bert Blyleven, there's been 10 pitchers in the history of the game that struck out 3,000 or more. Fergie Jenkins is the only one that has walked less than 1,000. But Blyleven's strikeout to walk ratio, his control over these 21 years is as impressive as his record.
So when he hit Dan Gladden in the first inning, that wasn't because of lack of control, right?
That pitch didn't slip.
Brian Harper takes strike 1. Harper fly to right his first time up. Line drive center field. Devon White is back there and he makes the catch. 1 away in the 4th inning. You know, the Twins talking to Tim Laudner, who left and was put on the disqualified list. What's the story with Laudner and his future?
Tim had a meeting with Andy MacPhail, the Twins general manager, yesterday. The Twins will analyze that situation and let him know on Monday if they want him back. A couple options there. They could say, okay, go down to spring training, get yourself in shape on your own dollar, and then when you're ready to play, we'll take you back. Or they could scout around some other teams and see if a trade might be possible to get him to another ball club. Of course, whoever he is traded to is going to want him to get in shape first also.
Laudner left because of personal reasons, and the Twins picked up Junior Ortiz from the Pirates. Chopper to 3rd base. Howell charging in, makes the play, and there are 2 away.
Yeah, just to clarify the personal problems, because today immediately fans think, well, there's got to be some drug problem, alcohol. Tim just flat out got burned out playing baseball. He said, I'm tired of it. He's not a regular catcher anymore, and he wanted some time to think it over and decide whether he really wanted to continue his career.
So that decision comes Monday for the Twins. Here's Al Newman, 0 for 1, 2 down. Newman hitting in the number 9 slot today. Curveball. This is low, 1-0. Newman a switch hitter, and both his hits this year have been as a left-handed batter. Another off-speed breaking ball in for a strike, 1-1.
Newman wants to get on in the home run column this year. You know, last week we had the Astros. Gerald Young has the longest streak without hitting one. Newman 2nd.
Another breaking pitch in for the strike. He's what, over 1,100 at-bats?
He came up with Montreal. He hit one off Zane Smith in 1986. That's his only one.
There's a fastball and a base hit to right field. Good stroke by Newman. 2-out single. And that's hit number 6 for the Twins. Still no score between the Expos and the Mets. Royals and Blue Jays 1-1 in the 2nd inning. And the White Sox on the heels of the A's leading in their game. Top of the order, Dan Gladden, 0 for 1, was hit by a pitch and scored a run. Former San Francisco Giant, played there 4 years. This is his 4th year in a Minnesota unit.
And his old team is struggling this year, the Giants. You know, that's a wide open race over there, the National League West. no dominant team like there is in the American League West.
Fouls off a fastball, 2 strikes. Newman on at first base, 2 out. We're in the bottom of the 4th inning. Dan Gladden can do it, has been the leadoff hitter this season. And he's got some speed. There goes Gladden. The pitch taken for a ball. The throw on a hop into center field. Newman going to third. And he gets there. Should go as a stolen base and an error.
Now the Twins have guessed right twice with Blyleven. You see Newman, just a little hesitation. And by guessing, I mean, see, he's looking straight ahead. That's a straight steal. They're trying to pick up Bert Blyleven's curveball. Anytime you can steal on a curveball, it's a much more difficult pitch for the catcher to handle as it was for Orton. And on the overthrow, he gets into third.
So a throwing error on the rookie Orton. And Newman with a stolen base. So the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes to Gladden, 2 down. Infield is playing back. Line drive hit to left center field. That'll be in the gap. And off the plexiglass in left field. Newman will score. Into second base with a double is Dan Gladden. It's 6-0 Minnesota.
Watch John Orton's target. He wants that ball inside, but not quite enough on it. And Dan Gladden, when he's ahead of the pitcher in the count, he is so quick on the fastball. And another extra base hit.
5th run batted in of the year for Gladden. It's 6-0. And here's Gene Larkin. Designated hitter 0 for 2 thus far. 2 down, the runner at second base. Pitch is taken for a strike. By the way, Larkin, for you history buffs, the first graduate of Columbia University to play in the major league since the great Lou Gehrig. I don't know if they kept records then, but they
broke all Lou's records.
Sure did. Sherman Corbett, left-hander throwing in the California bullpen. There's Corbett. He was up earlier. 1 ball, 1 strike. The count to Larkin.
Major League nuts, minor league.
Line drive could be trouble down the right field line. It'll be a base hit. Gladden will score. Larkin on his way to second with a stand-up double. 7-0.
Well, Larkin has found a comfortable spot in that number 2 slot. Tom Kelly's been using him there as the DH. He gets a ball out over the plate. And when you score runs like the Twins have the last couple games, you get production up and down the lineup. But the hit that set this whole inning up was just that little 2-out single by Al Newman.
7-0 the score after back-to-back doubles by Gladden and Larkin. And now the heart of the order coming up with Kirby Puckett. 1 for 2 with an RBI single. Ground ball, base hit to the right side. They're going to wave him in. Larkin coming in. Here's the throw to the plate. It'll be close, and he's out at home. Larkin is out at home on a fine throw by Donnie Bichette, and that is his 6th assist of the season. But the Twins get 2 more runs, and after 4, lead the Angels 7-0. Minnesota, but a play at the plate ended the bottom of the 4th.
6th assist for Dante Bichette. Look at Ken Herbeck. He's trying to tell Gene Larkin, slide away from the plate. Larkin tries to get in standing up. I don't know whether Orton made that tag in time or not.
Ball 1 to John Orton, leading off the 5th inning. So the guy who was involved in the play leading off here in the 5th against David West, now staked to his 7-run lead. Fly ball down the right field line. Randy Bush chases it, but it's out of play.
What Dante Bichette is building up right now is the reputation that Kirby Puckett, Dwight Evans, and Jesse Barfield have. Third base coaches are going to start to say, I'm not going to run on this kid anymore.
That was a situation in which you would run with a 7-run lead.
And Rick Rennick is probably the most aggressive third base coach in the league.
Good fastball by West. Ball and 2 strikes now to Wharton. Strike 3, and the third strikeout of the game for West. Once again, let's go to New York and check in with Greg Gumbel.
4th inning at Shea, Dick. This is how Darryl Strawberry plays kick the can. He tags Oil Can Boyd for his 2nd home run of the year. A monster shot to put the Mets up 2-0 after 4. Dick and Jim will give you another update when it comes down.
It will come down, though, Greg. Jack Cowell swings and misses. I'll tell you, with all the run production, the Twins have to be incredibly pleased with what Tapani did last night and what West is doing tonight, really making people forget that Viola trade. Shortstop, Al Newman, 2 away.
I think the impressive thing about both Tapani and now West today, it might look easy to pitch in a game where your team has 7 or 8 runs. Obviously, a pitcher would like to have that kind of lead, but it still is a different mindset for the pitcher. And David West has adjusted very well. He's still trying to pitch his game as if it's 0-0. Sometimes you fall in a habit of trying to just throw too many fastballs and say, here it is, hit it, and the game can get out of control.
Here's Ken Anderson, the shortstop, hitting in the number 9 position. Great command of his pitches today does David West. He has struck out 4 batters, walked 2, and has allowed 2 singles. Off speed with the breaking ball in, 1-1. There's Sherman Corbett, who will be the new California pitcher. Two and 1 to Anderson. The only offense mustered today by the Angels. Devon White with a single in the 3rd and a leadoff base hit by Wally Joyner in the 4th. He's up high with it and falls behind 3-1.
Ken Anderson getting a chance to play because of the injury to their regular shortstop, Dick Schofield, and they really miss him, both in the field and at the plate. And it's going to be probably another month before he's able to play.
3-1 pitch, fastball, fouled out of play. He's got that strained hamstring, and of course, you know, Anderson is a youngster who started last year at AAA, but as Doug Rader told us before the game, he says they're not Dick Schofield.
It's like Al Newman, who is playing today in place of Greg Gagne, but Al Newman is an ideal utility player, but Tom Kelly would not use him on an everyday basis, as Doug Rader would use Schofield every day and Anderson part-time.
Ball 4. That'll be the 3rd walk given up by West. A 2-out pass here in the 5th inning. Moose Stubing, the 3rd base coach for the Angels. Bobby Kaat over at first base.
Well, Moose Stubing, of course, a basketball official in the offseason, and Bobby Kaat has been a part of this franchise since they went west in the early 60s. Remember Jim Fregosi at short, Bobby Kaat at 2nd.
Ryan Downing looking at strike 1. He has struck out and walked today. Of course, those Angels challenged early, didn't they? In their
62, they built their team on speed and pitching. They had Bo Belinsky, Dean Chance.
No balls and 2 strikes.
You know, and then when they finally won the division in the late 70s, they'd done it with power. Reggie Jackson was there at Baylor, Bobby Gritch. Now they have a pretty good blend of both power and pitching.
Let's see. Downing hit by the pitch. Apparently, ball nicked his foot.
Well, they said they wanted to see the hitters move their feet. They're getting it. West is trying when he's ahead in the count.
That's the 2nd batter that Dave West has hit today.
Yeah, this is the reason a left-hander would like to get that curveball over the top and not flat, because it breaks in toward the right-hand hitter. Catches Downing right on the instep.
Downing's aboard, and here's Devon White. Swings at a fastball up in his eyes for strike one. White has one of the 2 hits by the Angels today. He was the other man hit by a pitch by West. That was in the first inning. 7-0 to score. The Minnesota Twins out in front of the Angels. Really got him in on the hands. 0-2.
Yeah, right now David West is throwing in the mid-80s, about 85, 86, so he's not concerned with being a 90-plus guy. He's more concerned with getting command of that inside corner with the fastball. That's what he's done to White here in the first 2 pitches.
They're the runners. Downing at second, Ken Anderson at first. 2 away here in the top of the 5th inning. Devon White. Stole second, third, and home in the same inning against the Boston Red Sox last September. It's called running for the cycle, I guess. Foul tip, held on to. He had a look in the webbing of his glove, but Harper's got it. And the Angels lead 2 in the 5th inning. 7-0 Minnesota leading. National League, Montreal leading, but a couple of good pitchers that should be noted here and their performances in the early going. Ken Herbeck leading off, takes a call strike.
That's surprising that the pitchers are with clubs that are in the bottom of the division right now. John Tudor, what a nice comeback he's making. And then the Doc won his first one the other day.
Hit in the air to left field. Chili Davis is there, and there's one away. New center fielder is Max Venable. He replaces Devon White, and we have a new pitcher on the mound. Sherman Corbett, a left-hander, making his second appearance of the year, has worked just 1 inning. 27-year-older from New Braunfels, Texas.
Getting a chance to pitch because of the injury to veteran Bob McClure, the left-hander out of the bullpen in the middle innings.
Gary Gaetti, 2 for 2 with a pair of singles, has scored 1 run today. Hit on the ground on the left side. Jack Howell makes the play, and there are 2 gone. Corbett spent the entire season at Edmonton in AAA last year, and then was called up by the Angels on September 1st.
Angels a lot like their mates out there in the West Coast, the Dodgers. Good starting, good closer, but not a lot in the middle.
Shane Mack is going to be batting now for Randy Bush with 2 out here in the 5th inning.
Shane Mack was a part of the 1984 Olympic team. The Twins drafted him off the roster of the San Diego Padres. One area that Tom Kelly has been trying to fill, he platoons Carmelo Castillo and Randy Bush in right field. And Shane Mack would give him a little added speed in the lineup against left-hand pitchers.
2 out, 2 balls and no strikes to Mack. Hit sharply up the gap in right center field, and it's off the tarp. Mack motors around and goes into second with a double. That's the 3rd double of the game by the Minnesota Twins. And a 2-out runner at scoring position for Brian Harper. Orton going out to talk to Corbett. Bert Blyleven worked 4 innings, gave up 7 runs on 9 hits, hit a batter, and struck out 1. 5-run first inning, including 2 homers for the Twins against the former Minnesota hurler. Ball 1 outside to Harper. Foul off to the right. Minnesota with 5 in the first inning. Kent Herbeck with a 2-run homer. Randy Bush also hit a 2-run drive. And 2 runs in the 4th inning, all the scoring in the game. There's Mack, pinch hit with a double. Ground ball to the right side. Johnny Ray makes the play, and the side is retired. No runs, a double, and 1 hit, 1 left. 5 complete. Johnny Ray leading off for the Angels in the 6th inning, trailing 7-0. Ball 1 to him. Ray is 0 for 2, and David West so far allowed no runs on 2 hits. Shane Mack now in right field, replacing Randy Bush. Mack pinch hit a double. Mack, as Tom Kelly said, I want to use as many guys as possible even after we win games, and that's what he's done today.
He does as good a job as any manager of using the whole roster. The extra men really feel like a part of this team. What Doug Rader's going through right now with his team is they came in here last night, the first game of a long road trip, a much quieter atmosphere in the dome than outdoors. They took a 13-1 pasting, and they really looked flat. Claudell Washington, a ball down the right field corner that maybe could have been caught. And I think he's a much more patient man than he was in Texas years ago, but he didn't appreciate the effort that he got from his team last night.
One of the reasons he installed Downing in the game as a DH because of his intensity. Breaking ball on 1 and 2. Gloved nicely by Gaetti at third. The throw to first, he's got him. Boy, they love Gaetti and what he does at third base here for the Twins.
Well, you got 3 guys in this lineup that you know you can put in there every day and are going to play so well on both sides of the ball, and there's one of them. Gaetti, a Gold Glove winner, and Herbeck at first. Foot speed not important for a third baseman, but lateral movement, range like Nettles and Brooks Robinson, and Gaetti's got that too.
Wally Joyner hits a pop foul. Chasing it is Gaetti, but it's out of play. The Oakland A's in front in the American League Western Division. Game and a half in front of the White Sox, who are leading in their game coming into today's action. Angels at 500, but they're riding a 4-game losing streak and losing here to the Twins 7-0. That's what David West's work has showed so far. 1-1 the count to Joyner. 1 out, top of the 6th inning.
See West work through this inning, maybe into the next one, but Dick Such, the Twins pitching coach, along with manager Tom Kelly, they really monitor the pitch count. Last night, Kevin Tappan, he had a shutout through 8 innings, and he took him out in the 9th. He'd only throw 83. There's Dick Such, the Twins pitching coach. You could expect them to go to the bullpen in the 7th inning here.
Ground ball, base hit up the middle for Wally Joyner. So he has his 2nd hit of the game, only the 3rd for the Angels. And Chili Davis coming up. Davis has walked and lined out to center fielder Kirby Puckett. I mentioned West in his 2 starts. He worked 6 and 7 innings in his 2 starts this season, looking for his first win. Breaking ball is in for a strike, and with a 7-0 lead, and Ken Herbeck is not holding Wally Joyner on at first base. And he went around. Strike 2, 0-2.
And the strategy with Kent Herbeck playing behind Joyner, you'll give up the stolen base, but you don't want Chili Davis to squirt a ball down the right field line for a double and turn this into a big inning.
Jammed him and fouls it off to the right.
Well, in the dugouts, the players say that's getting in your kitchen. And that gives you an idea of the kind of fastball West has, and that's exactly the area that they're trying to get David West to make some improvement, is getting the fastball inside on right-hand hitters. Of course, Bo Jackson was famous for taking the bat that wasn't broken and breaking it over his leg. This fastball gets in on his hands to break it a little bit, then Chile finishes it off.
Well, if he's going to bring some wood in his kitchen, he can start a fire with that sawed-off bat.
Nice to have a fireplace in your kitchen.
No balls and 2 strikes to Chili Davis. 1 out. Wally Joyner, the runner at first. Herbeck moving back. Breaking ball misses outside. 7 runs, 10 hits, and no errors for the Twins. No runs, 3 hits, and 1 error for the Angels. Twins trying to extend their winning streak to 4 in a row. Fastball, and it's popped up. Harper goes back, but it's in the crowd.
Of course, anytime there's a foul pop here, as is the case in the Astrodome, the players immediately pay a little closer attention because the speakers are in play. Ball hits one of the speakers up here in the Metrodome. In foul territory, you can still catch it, and it's an out. Happened in last night's game.
Now, if it hits it in foul territory, it's a foul no matter what happens. But if it hits it in fair territory and then
it's as if it didn't hit anything.
That's right.
It's in play.
Yeah. That's fun. Ball and 2 strikes to Davis. Runner wasn't going. Harper quickly going after the ball.
Infielders language, you know, not as important in a 7-0 game, but a shortstop and second baseman always like to know who's covering the bag. Al Newman says, I got it. If he kept his mouth closed to Fred Manrique, it would mean you got it.
West 2-2 pitch. And the count is full, 3-2. West so far has walked 3 batters, has struck out 5. Twice the Angels have had 2 runners on base in the 3rd inning. And then again in the 5th. Another good fastball, fouled out of play, and it's still 3-2. Here's the 3-2 pitch with 1 out. All 4. So Davis draws a walk. Second time he's drawn a pass. 4th walk of the game by West. And runners are at first and second, 1 out. And the Candyman gets up to throw in the Minnesota bullpen. John Candelaria.
Acquired by the Twins in the offseason to fill exactly the role that he's warming up for. Just a left-hander that can come in the 6th, 7th inning, get a couple of men out to bridge the gap between the starter and Rick Aguilera, who's done a fine job as the Twins closer.
Here's Dante Bichette. Struck out and hit into a double play. 2 on and 1 out. And a foul ball out of play. The Angels have not been able to get a runner to 3rd yet today. Bichette coming in widely heralded. Did not start the season in the lineup, but now could be a fixture in right field if he continues to hit. We know he can field and throw. One ball and 1 strike to Dante Bichette. Joyner's at second. Chili Davis at first, 1 out.
Kind of a one-man offense right now with men on bases for the Angels.
Checking the runner at second. Here's West. Fouled away again. A ball and 2 strikes. There's Joyner, who singled with 1 out. Chili Davis, who walked for the 2nd time in the game.
The big difference in David West in this inning is you can begin to see where that flat delivery that we've talked about, the ball is staying up in the strike zone. And to hitters like Bichette, that's a danger sign.
Well, the pitch upcoming will be David West's 100th pitch of the game. Count remains 1-2. California Angels, 91 wins last year. As Jim mentioned earlier, they won the season series 11-2 over the Twins, and even more surprising would be the fact that they won 6 out of the 7 games played here at the Metrodome.
And scored so many runs. Now with Bichette, you know, one of the weaknesses of the Angels a couple of years ago was their outfield defense. They made almost 50 errors. They improved that a great deal last year. Now with Bichette, they should be even better.
Breaking ball, and the count is even now, 2-2.
That's the kind of things that Dick Such and Tom Kelly will monitor looking at David West. That ball starts hanging high and outside the strike zone. Those are very hittable pitches.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Foul back. That's the 24th pitch this inning alone that David West has thrown. And he staked to a 7-0 lead, and now the question would have to be is what else does David West have to prove to Tom Kelly and Dick Such?
Well, the thing we mentioned about Bert Blyleven, what's so impressive about the Blylevens and Fergie Jenkins is the fact that they economize their pitches. They have a game like this 7-0, and they probably wouldn't be on the mound this long. Not as many deep counts, as many walks, and that's where West, despite pitching a good game today, has to make improvement.
In tight, and the count is full, 3-2. David West working and laboring here in the 6th inning despite the big lead. The big 6'6" left-hander out of Memphis, Tennessee. The crowd gets behind him here. Two on, 1 out. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Swung on and missed, strike 3. Bichette goes down for the 2nd time. Strikeout number 6 for David West. We're at the Metrodome in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and the fans here being treated to another tremendous hitting array by the Minnesota Twins. Dick Stockton and Jim Kaat. Angels batting here in the 6th, trailing Minnesota 7-0. Here's John Orton, the rookie catcher, who has struck out twice, once on a called 3rd strike. Ball 1. John Candelaria has been throwing in the bullpen for the Twins. Orton still looking for his first hit. Takes breaking ball for a strike, 1-1.
Most of the time, day game after a night game, managers will rest some of their older players. In this case, Lance Parrish, who caught last night's game, gets the day off. And this young catcher, John Orton, Doug Rader thinks will be a star. You look in the press guide and at the stats of players as they come up, and they don't look impressive, but when managers see them every day, they see the progress. And in this case, Rader says this guy is just this close, holds his fingers about an inch apart to turning the corner and becoming a real good player.
Runners with the leads with 2 out. Here's the 2-1 pitch. 3-1 now to John Orton. So the Angels, who have not had a runner to 3rd today, are on the brink. There's Rader, who has
could almost read his lips, calling down the bench saying, hey, somebody grab a bat if this guy gets on.
Mike Witt, by the way, is just loosening up in the California bullpen. 3-1 pitch. Swung on and missed, strike 2.
Lance Parrish, we mentioned getting a rest, could well come up and pinch hit against the left-hander.
Jack Howell is on deck right now. Runners go. Pitch as high and outside. Ball 4, and the bases are loaded. Joyner will go to 3rd. Tom Kelly is out of the dugout, and that may be all for David West. 32 pitches this inning, and the bases are loaded, and you'd be surprised how quick a 7-0 lead could dissipate.
And with the home run power, and Tom, what's frustrating for a manager is to have a game under control and yet have it slip away just because of wildness on the part of the pitcher.
And that'll be all for David West. And Candelaria comes in, and West will get a big hand. A new pitcher for the Minnesota Twins, with the bases loaded and 2 out here in the top of the 6th inning, is the veteran 36-year-old left-hander John Candelaria, who is making his 5th appearance of the year. All in relief. Facing Jack Howell. Swings at the first pitch and pops it up into short right field. Manrique calls for it and makes the catch to retire the side as the Angels lead the bases loaded. And we'll return to the Metrodome after this message and a word from your local station.
Hey, Johnny!
Here's our score here in Minneapolis. 7-0 Minnesota. 5-run first and a 2-run fourth. They've out-hit the Angels 10-3. The American League East, Toronto with the early lead and a close race all the way around.
Kind of comparable to the National League West. I mean, you look for Toronto to dominate that division, but they never do. Milwaukee is a pick every year. They struggle, and not many teams that you can really eliminate in that American League East.
A lot of people think the Red Sox, if they can get some more pitching, could be in the hunt. Here's Fred Manrique, 0 for 2. The number 8 hitter in the lineup today for the Twins, facing Sherman Corbett, and takes ball 1. Corbett in relief of Bert Blyleven. Rounded to shortstop, Ken Anderson, and there's one away. Right now, for an update, let's find out what's happening around the major leagues from Greg Gumbel. Greg.
Well, Dick, at Cleveland, the Indians are expecting big things from newly acquired catcher Sandy Alomar Jr., and this isn't bad for starters. With the bases loaded, a 2-base hit to the wall. He'll go to third on the throw into the plate. It puts Cleveland up by a score of 6-4. Sandy Alomar Jr. hitting .333 this year. They're in the 6th inning. Back to Dick and Jim at the Metrodome.
He's off to a great start. Al Newman takes ball 1 from Sherman Corbett. Newman is 1 for 2 with a single, has a stolen base and scored a run.
You know, Dick, in the day of statistics and numbers, there is one stat that is foolproof, that doesn't lie when you determine winning and losing a baseball game. And it's quality start. Now, I know we overuse that word quality, but when you get 6 innings out of your starting pitcher and he gives up 3 runs or less, which David West did today, Tapani did last night, you win 80% of your games. Ironic thing about these two teams is the Angels are the best in baseball at quality starts.
High pop-up, left side. Jack Howell, 2 away.
Yet in last night's game and today, both Abbott and Blyleven left early. There's Mike Witt, who was an important member of this pitching staff for years. Maybe get a couple of innings in today, but the Angels haven't received the quality starts the last 2 games. The Twins have, but that's a stat. When you get that, you win.
West worked 5 2/3 innings and did not allow a run. So with 2 down, here's Dan Gladden. Takes a strike. Gladden doubled and drove in a run in the 4th inning. He has scored 2 runs today. One ball and 1 strike. Twins trying to get back to 500, or actually get to 500 for the first time this year. Two balls and a strike. They flirted with that number and ended up 80 and 82 last year. Keep in mind, you know, it wasn't that long ago they were the world champions, and they won 85 games in '87 when they won it.
And this division has become stronger since then.
85 won't get it done this year, that's for sure.
No, here are the Angels, who won 91 games last year. They're starting a long road trip, and if they don't improve, Oakland could run off and leave the rest of this division before April is finished.
3 balls and a strike. Check swing, foul back, and we saw in Greg Gumbel's update that the Cleveland Indians took the lead over the Chicago White Sox. They have been the early challengers, if you want to call it that, to the A's in the West.
The A's know that it's the Royals and the Angels that they fear more than any of the other team. They're putting a little distance between them already.
Check swing, line drive down the right field line. That's a foul ball. And that was close. That was very close.
Now, you won't see Dan Gladden go to right field too often. That is kind of a defensive swing with the pitch out away from him. Just foul.
As one old-time broadcaster used to say, by a gnat's eyelash.
They used to sit in the bullpen and say, hey, that wasn't foul by much. I'd say it doesn't have to be. If it's foul, it's foul.
Sherman Corbett, the left-hander, Texan. Here's the 3-2. And it's low ball 4. Well, the NBA playoffs begin next Saturday and Sunday. Pre-game show at 12:30 Eastern on both days, and doubleheader action Saturday and Sunday, and the big show begins in the NBA next weekend.
I'll tell you, right in this dome this year, they had a lot of excitement. The Minnesota Timberwolves.
49,000 in their last game. Breaking the record. Gene Larkin, the DH, takes ball 1. He is 1 for 3 with an RBI double. 2 out. Gladden, the runner at first base, held on by Joyner. 7-0. It's been Minnesota all the way today. 2-0.
Corbett struggling with his control as West did. You see the left-handers with the players call it a herky-jerky motion, not very smooth, and they're the guys that seem to struggle a little more with that control than the other pitchers.
Ball's behind 3-0 now.
Pitcher would love to have a motion like Bert Blyleven, even though he had a tough day today, but you try to pitch from up to down, you know, from high to low. And in West and Corbett's case, they're both from side to side.
So back-to-back walks by Gladden and Larkin, and the Twins have runners at first and second. 2 men out to Kirby Puckett, and now Marcel Latchman goes out to the mound. Time is called. Mike Witt has been loosening up in the bullpen as we catch you up on scores around the big leagues.
Like the Reds are going to stay undefeated. Lead over the Braves. See, that's a little a lesson from Marcel Latchman. Most of the time you don't teach on the big league level, but nowadays we see more and more young pitchers coming to the big leagues.
He makes the call of the bullpen for Witt. So that'll be all for Corbett, and Mike Witt will come in for the Angels, and will return to the Metrodome in just a moment. Third pitcher of the game for the California Angels, taking his warm-up tosses now, and it's right-hander Mike Witt. Tomorrow we have the final round of the Greater Greensboro Open, and right now in the third round, coming up next, Reed and Price tied for the lead.
Mike Reed, they call him radar. Just drives it in the center of the fairway all day long.
Witt, of course, worked 2 innings in relief of Mark Langston, combining for that no-hitter the first week. He is making his 4th appearance of the year. 0-2 is his record, facing Kirby Puckett, who's got 2 hits and an RBI today. Takes a strike. Puckett 200 or more hits 4 straight years. Only the second right-handed hitter in history since Al Simmons did it 5 years in a row. Gladden and Larkin are the base runners.
It was about this time last year that the Kirby Puckett watch was on. You know, he broke in May of 1984. He came up 2 hits short of Joe Medwick's record for most hits in the first 5 years of a career.
Mike Witt looking in, 2 down, 2 runners on, 1-1 the count. Here in the bottom of the 6th inning. The pitch is low.
We talk about Blyleven's curveball. Here's a guy, Mike Witt, who many a few years ago would vote as having the best curveball in the American League. Pitched that perfect game. within one pitch of pitching this team into the World Series in 1986.
Setting the target outside is John Orton. And the pitch misses, and it's 3-1 now to Kirby Puckett. Talking about Witt, he threw the Angels' last no-hitter on the last day of the '84 season against the Texas Rangers. And who do you think their manager was? Doug Rader. Gladden with the lead at second, Larkin at first, 2 away. And the count runs full, 3-2 now to Puckett.
Well, and 2 of those 3 in the park today. Tony Oliva won it his first 2 years as a rookie and a sophomore.
Only 5'8", but he packs the power, does Puckett. You know, interestingly enough, Kirby Puckett last year was the first right-handed hitter to win the full season batting title since Alex Johnson of the Angels nearly 2 decades ago.
It's been a lefty-dominated league as far as batting average goes.
Crowd wants some more offense from the Twins. Runners will be off 3-2, and it's low ball 4, and the bases are loaded.
Boy, and the walks are, the Angels have come into the Dome here and pitched very defensively. You know, Sandy Koufax made that statement, I became a great pitcher when I stopped trying to make the hitter miss the ball and I tried to make him hit the ball. And the Angels in these 2 games are pitching like they're afraid the Twins are going to hit the ball.
Here's Kent Hrbek, and he can hit the ball. He had a 2-run homer in the first inning. 1 for 3 on the day. Bases are loaded, 2 down. Twins already leading 7-0. Pitch is low, ball 1. So with 2 out, Gladden and Larkin drew walks, and that was all for Corbett. Witt in relief, and the runners at second and third are the responsibility of Sherman Corbett. Two balls and no strikes now to Hrbek.
Hitter's delight right here. Bases loaded.
That's Gladden. He's at third. Gene Larkin at second. Kirby Puckett all reached on walks here in the 6th inning.
Hitter's delight because you know you're going to get a fastball on 2-0.
And a line drive hit to center field. Turns around Venable, but he's there to make the catch to retire the side. The Twins leave the bases loaded without a hit, and after 6 complete, 7-0. After 6 innings, the Twins 7 runs, 10 hits, and no errors. The Angels no runs, 3 hits, and 1 miscue. And leading off in the 7th inning is Kent Anderson against John Candelaria. Ball 1 outside. Anderson has walked once today. Fastball on the corner. Candelaria in relief of Dave West, who worked 5 2/3 innings. Gave up 3 hits, struck out 6 and walked 5. In for the strike 1 and 2.
You watch every hitter that comes up to the plate. Watch his hands and his fingers, the movement, just trying to get the feel of the bat. Ooh.
Candelaria fell down after delivering that fastball.
Well, he's got a knee problem, and as soon as he goes down, that's the things you're concerned with. Once if that front leg, it looked like he caught his spikes in the mound pushing off there. Nothing serious.
The 1-2, foul back.
The grip of the bat, we were talking about Ken Anderson and wiggling the fingers around to get a feel. See the same thing with pitchers. The one thing that a player tries to accomplish, you want to feel the bat or the ball, not squeeze it.
Fly ball to right field. Shane Mack coming in, making the catch, and there's 1 gone. Well, once upon a time, they misspelled Jim Kaat's name on a baseball card, but that didn't last very long. Yeah, look at that.
Isn't that special?
It's double A because he's a Dutchman. But I'll tell you what, he faced Sandy Koufax 3 times, in the 1965 World Series. He won the first, but lost the last two as the Dodgers beat Kaat and the Twins in Game 7 of the series. And of course, you came back and were champion with the Cardinals, so you got that ring finally.
A lot of fun both years, 65 and 82, watching Koufax with the team in Minnesota that still won more games than any Twins team, and then being a part of that great Cardinal team in 82.
Here's Downing. Up for the 4th time in the game, has reached on a walk and was hit by a pitch. He's 0 for 1 officially. Native of Brooklyn, John Candelaria wheels and a fly ball foul down the right field line. He has won 60 games more than he's lost in his career.
Now here's a guy that throws from 3/4, similar to David West, but his control has been, you know, great command to the outside corner and that sharp breaking ball.
Two balls and 2 strikes to Downing.
So even though that's his groove, that 3/4 groove, he's been able to master it over the years. Of course, the Twins are hoping that he's the guy they can just use for an inning or two against primarily left-hand hitters.
He jammed him and forced him to pop it up. Left side, it's Al Newman. And there are 2 down.
In the days of one-hand catches, Al Newman with that smile on his face is kind of unusual. You see how he had the bare hand open and the glove.
That'll bring
sure
up
he would look that ball right down into the glove.
2 down. Max Venable up for the first time. He replaced Devon White in center field, and he takes ball 1. That's on the corner. 1 ball and 1 strike to Venable. 32 years old, native of Phoenix, Arizona. Well traveled, mostly with the Giants, and then Montreal, Cincinnati. Lines it down the left field line, and it's a fair ball into the corner. Chasing it is Gladden, and Venable will go into second with a double, and that's the first extra base hit for the Angels today.
Well, some guys are stars and some are survivors. Max Venable is a survivor. He's been able to log some time in the big leagues. You mentioned started with the Giants. He's been with the Expos and the Reds, and now getting a chance to play as the extra outfielder with the Angels.
Switch hitting Johnny Ray, 0 for 3 on the afternoon. 2 down, runner at second base. Way behind that good fastball by Candelaria, whose best year was in 1977 when he won 20 games for the Pirates. Two strikes now to Ray. Twins trying to extend their winning streak to 4 straight games after losing 6 of their first 8. They began the year out on the West Coast. Kind of a carbon copy last night's game when the Twins demolished the Angels 13-1, getting 9 runs in the 5th inning. Today they got 5 in the 1st. There's Venable at second with 2 away. Up the middle. Behind the bag is Newman. He'll make the play, and the side is retired. And once again, the Angels are held scoreless through 6.5 innings.
Newman filling in for Gagne makes the inning-ending play.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Major League Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of Major League Baseball. Well, after a 5-run first, why not take a little bit of a nap? And He's confident of a victory, that youngster. Gary Gaetti leads off last of the 7th inning against Mike Witt. Fouls off the first pitch. Activity in the bullpen for the Minnesota Twins. Terry Leach and Juan Berenguer. Berenguer on the left. Gaetti 2 for 3 with a pair of singles, has scored once today. Swings and misses on the breaking ball. 0-2.
And with Gaetti and Herbeck, and then Tom Bernansky, who was with the Twins years ago. The Twins have had a rookie crop, all rookies back in 1982, that rank up there really with some of the all-time greats as far as home run hitting. Remember your old ball club, the Giants, Orlando Cepeda, Leon Wagner, Felipe Alou. And then the one you didn't like, the Dodgers. They had Snyder and Hodges and Campanella, all the home runs they hit as rookies.
Thank you.
Gaetti, Bernansky, and...
Thank you, Jim. This game is being seen in Los Angeles.
Well,
You
just were the Brooklyn Dodgers.
smeared me in Los Angeles, but thank you for that. Foul at the plate. You're right.
I thought it was interesting that Tom Kelly mentioned as a kid, he was a Giant fan.
You
Went
know,
out to the Polo Grounds.
You know who else was a Giant fan, amazingly enough? Vin Scully, before he came to work for the Brooklyn Dodgers.
And if you were a Giant fan, you couldn't be a Brooklyn Dodger.
No. Those were great days.
But both those teams and the Twins in '82 had 3 rookies. A lot of home runs.
Here's the 1-2 pitch. Charging at third is Jack Howell. One hopper, good play by Joyner, and there's one away. Right now, let's go to New York and check in with Greg Gumbel. Greg?
Dick, stay out of the way of that big red machine. Cincinnati's Chris Sabo with the gapper in the 2nd inning to get Mariano Duncan home. The Reds looking for a 9th straight win. That would be a club record. They lead it 3-1. They're now in the 4th. Let's go back to Dick.
Even rain didn't deter them. The postponement with the Braves last night. Shane Mack takes a strike. He pinch hit a double in the 5th inning. And stayed in the game at right field. Randy Bush started out there. 1-1.
You know, so many players make it to the big leagues now from college programs. And the class of '84, that Olympic team that had Will Clark, Mark McGuire, Bobby Witt, and Shane Mack was on that team.
Good breaking ball by Witt there.
Went to UCLA. Now the Twins, I mentioned, taking a bit of a gamble on him, drafted him off the Padres roster.
Two and 2 to Mack. Minnesota with 5 runs in the 1st inning. Kent Herbeck with a 2-run homer. And then after a single by Gaetti, Randy Bush hit a 2-run drive. 2 more added in the 4th inning. Back-to-back doubles by Gladden and Larkin. And the Angels have not been able to mount much of a threat today. They did load the bases in the 6th inning before Candelaria came in and got Howell on a pop-up with 1 pitch. Tough day for Doug Rader.
And Darren Johnson is hitting coach.
3-2 pitch. Ball 4. Second walk by Witt. Corbett also walked 2 in relief. Bert Blyleven did not issue a pass. He was a starter and pitched 4 innings and gave up all the runs. So here's Brian Harper. 0 for 3 today. Breaking ball away.
People that follow this game rather closely think of Brian Harper as a utility player that was made into a catcher, but really the Angels drafted him in 1977 as a catcher.
Ball and a strike.
And he loved, for some reason or other, he hit a home run last night. He has great success against the Angels. Lifetime, he's hitting over 400 against them.
13 years in the game, 15 cities, 5 organizations. Ground ball to third. Glances off the chest of Howell into left field. Going to third will be Mack. Holding it first is Harper as the throw comes back to the infield, and it's going to be an error. Charge to third baseman Jack Howell. Second error of the game for the Angels.
You know, when you look bad as a team, you can look like a last-place team the last 2 days as the Angels have. It just, the pitching doesn't come through. You fall behind early. Everybody looks flat. It's a much better ball club the Angels have than what we've seen here today.
Brings up Fred Manrique, who is 0 for 3 today, and Mark Eichhorn starts to throw in the Angels bullpen. Runners at first and third and 1 out. Shane Mack on at third base. Brian Harper, who reached on the error by Howell at first. Time called and an errant baseball from the bullpen.
Well, you said the bullpens were in play in the old Polo Grounds. They are here too. Always have one guy to back up the catcher down there. It's embarrassing for a pitcher because the whole game stops and they look down. Who threw that ball? It's always a guy warming up, ready to come in the game.
Seven to nothing the score. We're in the bottom of the 7th inning. Check swing and a foul. See, did he foul that off, or was that just thrown off the glove of catcher John Orton? No, it's a strike. 1-1. Two balls and a strike now on Fred Manrique, hitting 8th in the Twins lineup today. Twins looking for their 4th victory in a row. Their home opener was last night, and to many people here, they didn't even feel like it was an opening game on April 20th.
Not quite the electricity for a home opener because of the fact it was the 11th game of the season. Here again in this at-bat, kind of an exhibition of very defensive pitching. Doug Rader made a good point, in fairness to Mike Witt and a lot of the guys that are in long relief. They didn't get the innings in spring training, and now during the season, they might go 4 or 5 days without pitching. So it's going to take them a while to get their control and be sharp.
3-1 pitch is fouled off. You brought out an interesting point and an accurate one last week when you talked about forgetting about the pitchers and the hitters. The defense, the fielding wasn't up to snuff, and I think Doug Rader even kind of seconded that motion with the problems that both the Twins and the Angels had in their series out there.
And you can begin to see the change right now. We've seen some good plays today. The last few games have been a lot different.
Runners at first and third, 1 out. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Bounce to Howell. Off his chest. His only play is to second for the force, and the run's going to score. An RBI for Manrique, and it is now 8-0. But Howell had problems with that one.
No question, this has been a trouble spot in the field for the Angels. They feel Jack Howell is a good fastball hitter from the left side of the plate, but not the solid all-around player at third base that they need.
Two away, and Al Newman lines it up the alley, base hit. Cutting it off is Chili Davis, holding at second base. Is Manrique. Runners at first and second. That's the first hit off of Mike Witt, who came in last inning. Jim Dwyer, a veteran who's been well-traveled throughout his major league career, but a reliable pinch hitter, is going to pinch hit now for Dan Gladden.
I mentioned the pitchers not getting the innings, and here's a case of Tom Kelly saying, I've got to get some of my extra men a few at-bats. A guy like Jim Dwyer that he depends on in close games to come off the bench in situations like this.
Dwyer came up in the big leagues with the Cardinals way back in 1973. Most of his career throughout the 80s with the Orioles. Two on, 1 out. Ball 1 to Dwyer. 29-year-old Mike Witt, the third pitcher today for the Angels. Bert Blyleven worked 4 innings. Sherman Corbett worked an inning and 2/3. Slap foul. Dwyer has a couple of RBIs already this year. Two balls and a strike to Dwyer, who still holds the Oriole team record for 9 pinch hit home runs.
Montreal picked him up, you know, the last part of last season when it looked like they had a chance to win, and the Twins worked out a deal to get Dwyer back here for the 1990 season.
Runners with the leads at first and second, 2 down. And now it's 3-1 to Dwyer with Gene Larkin, the designated hitter, on deck.
Probably the toughest game for a manager to endure, in this case Doug Rader, to sit there and watch your pitchers, especially a veteran like Mike Witt, and just not able to throw the ball over the plate.
And the pitch is low and the bases are loaded. So Mike Witt has walked 3 batters in less than 2 innings of work. Marcel Latchman on the phone to the bullpen. Eichhorn was warming up a little while ago.
And then you've got to look ahead at tomorrow's game. These two teams play again tomorrow, so Rader says he hopes that he's in contention in that one. I've got to save Eichhorn and Harvey and keep a couple of my aces down here. You can't use everybody.
Eichhorn continuing to throw with his sidearm slants, and that'll be all for Witt. And Eichhorn will get the nod here. So Mike Witt leaves the game with the bases loaded for the Twins. Well, the media, they have cushy digs, don't they, here at this beautiful ballpark?
And we're a level above the main press area here at the Metrodome.
Mark Eichhorn, 6'3" right-hander. Pitched for Atlanta last year in a 5-5 record. He's 0-1 this year with 2 saves this season, facing Gene Larkin, designated hitter. And Larkin has a double and an RBI. Bases are loaded. There's Manrique on at third base. Al Newman at second, and Jim Dwyer, who pinch hit with a walk, on at first. Bouncing ball. And Joyner goes over to Anderson for the force, and that'll retire the side as the Twins leave the bases loaded and stretch their lead now to 8-0. Back here at the Metrodome, and now playing left field will be Johnny Moses, replacing Dan Gladden. Al Newman moves from shortstop to third base, and Greg Gagne replaces Newman at shortstop. Also behind the plate is Junior Ortiz, now catching. A lot of changes in the field as John Candelaria goes to work in the top of the 8th inning. And the first pitch is a strike to Wally Joyner. Fouled off, 0-2 now. John Candelaria in relief of David West, who worked 5 2/3 innings today, allowed only 3 hits, no runs. Struck out 6 batters and walked 5. Check swing and a foul, so it's still 0-2.
And you see that defensive swing by Wally Joyner. You won't see very many of them, but Candelaria could talk to hitters in both leagues over the last, say, 10-12 years. They will say John Candelaria is the toughest against left-hand hitters of any pitcher.
Gave him the motion, and it's strike 3. And for Candelaria, his first strikeout. 1 away here in the 8th inning. Candelaria began in the major leagues way back in 1975.
With the Lumber Company, the Pirates, when they were the strongest team in the National League.
They were family for about a year, till they didn't win. Here's Chili Davis. 0 for 1, has walked twice, takes ball 1 high and away.
Well, and Bert Blyleven was a part of that team also, today's starter, when they won the championship in 1979.
Sharply hit up the middle and a base hit for Davis. That's only the 5th hit of the ball game for the Angels, and it's been a game dominated by the Minnesota Twins and early with 5 runs in the first inning. Ken Herbeck and Randy Bush each hit 2-run homers, and West with a terrific pitching performance, working 5 2/3 innings and on his way to his first win of the year. Dante Bichette, the batter. He's 0 for 3 today. He has struggled. Bichette has struck out twice and bounced into a double play. Native of Jupiter in Florida. You talked to him yesterday, asked him about his favorite players. He didn't seem to want to talk about who his favorites were growing up.
Surprisingly, at 26 years old, Mickey Mantle was his hero growing up as a kid.
Davis the runner on, and a pop foul. Herbeck has a play. That'll be the second out.
You know, most of the time, baseball fans in our age group would say Mantle, but somebody like Dante Bichette, 2 or 3 years younger than you are, would say, you know, like a Reggie Jackson or somebody like that.
Jimmy Fox. Jimmy Fox was my favorite.
Double X.
So Bichette 0 for 4 today, and here's John Orton, who has struck out twice. Ball is in for a strike.
You know, there's been some home runs the last couple days here, but this park had the reputation of being the Homer Dome, but it really isn't. I mean, it was the Homer Dome only because the Twins had 4 or 5 guys that were home run hitters.
Breaking ball is in, 0-2.
Actually, in the American League last year, they hit more home runs in Yankee Stadium, and they hit more home runs in Anaheim. Here's the team, as we mentioned, led the league in home runs. So this is only the Homer Dome if you've got guys that got some power. It's not the ballpark.
I don't think the 59 White Sox would have hit a bunch of home runs.
No.
Even in Ebbets Field or even the smaller parks like Tiger Stadium. They were good home run parks. And strike 3. 2 strikeouts for Candelaria. 8 strikeouts in all for the Twin pitchers today. And we go to the 9th. The bottom of the 8th. Right here, it's Minnesota 8-0 over the California Angels. And in the American League West, everyone's chasing, of course, Oakland. You brought out a good point. Chicago being in second place, not the big threat that the A's anticipate. And can anyone beat them? And does that leave Kansas City because the Angels are having trouble scoring runs?
Yeah, you talk. The Angels have good starters, home run power, but when you talk about Oakland, they have home run power, hitting ability, starting, middle relief, good defense. And that's why they're the champions.
No weaknesses?
No weaknesses at all. And even when you talk to other managers around the league now, you don't want to concede things to Oakland, but they're kind of the model of a team that everyone would like to build. Everybody talks about the things that they can do when they're in the field and at the plate.
Kirby Puckett. Strike 1 to him. Ground ball, gloved nicely by Howell. He's going to have to hurry. The throw, not in time. And Puckett is safe with his third base hit of the game.
A tough day for Jack Howell. He gets to this ball, but reaction's just not quick enough to get to his feet and make an accurate throw. Once again, we mentioned it with a third baseman like a Brooks Robinson or Nettles. It's that lateral movement, that range to be able to get over there and then pop up and make the throw.
Ken Herbeck with a 2-run homer in the first inning. Out ahead of that off-speed pitch, fouls it off for a strike. Herbeck is 1 for 4 now with 3 homers and 9 RBIs on this young season. 8-0, the Minnesota Twins sailing along to their second breeze against the Angels in this series. 1 ball and 1 strike. And in fact, in the 2 games of this series, the Twins have outscored the Angels 21-1. Mark Eichhorn, the 4th pitcher of the day for California.
It's been a nice surprise for the Angels. Mark Eichhorn had a lot of success with the Blue Jays in the mid-'80s. Throws a forkball from down underneath that submarine delivery. Forkball, slider, and sinker. He quit throwing his forkball. Now all of a sudden he's beginning to throw it more to left-hand hitters. And again having success.
Just missed again, and it's 3-1. Rich Yett is tossing in the Minnesota bullpen down the left field line.
The sea foul is hard to kill.
12 hits for the Twins today. 7 of them from the middle of the order, Puckett, Urbeck, and Gaetti. So they've come through, and it's ball 4 here to Kent, and he's on. 6th walk given up by California hurlers today. Let's check the leaderboard in the Greater Greensboro Open right now. 3rd round coverage will be coming up right after our game.
Mike Reed once now taking a 1-shot lead. What a John Houston. What a showing in the Masters.
John Moses coming up now. He replaced Dan Gladden in left field and is installed in the number 5 position in the Twins order here. At 281 last year with the Twins. Takes a strike. Had been with Seattle before Minnesota. He led the Twins in pinch hit appearances last year. Kirby Puckett. He's on at second base. Ken Herbeck on at first. 1-1 the count to Moses. Nobody out here in the bottom of the 8th inning. 8-0 Twins. Switch hitter batting left-handed. Out ahead of that one. Fouls it at the plate. This is Dick Stockton along with Jim Kaat here in the Metrodome in Minneapolis, where the hometown fans are watching a big batting show. An outstanding pitcher by the Minnesota Twins on their way to their 4th straight victory. Bert Blyleven, the old favorite here, started and worked 4 innings and is headed for his 2nd loss in 2 decisions this year. Moses fouls it off again, trying to stay alive at 1-2.
Talk about the old lefty-righty stat. You know, managers will always send a right-hand hitter up against a left-hand pitcher. When you see a guy like Eichhorn, that defies that, because he is as difficult for a left-hander to pick up that unusual motion as he would be for a right-hand hitter.
Moses stays alive. Blyleven worked 4 innings. Sherman Corbett worked an inning and 2/3. Walked 2 batters. Mike Witt pitched 1 inning, allowed 1 run on 1 hit, and also walked 3. And now Eichhorn. One-two pitch, same story.
When Eichhorn throws a breaking ball, the hitters call it a frisbee. He throws that breaking ball from down in. The ball just slides. Watch the action on this ball right here. Just like you'd sail a frisbee. Right in on the hands.
Nobody out. The Twins with an 8-0 lead, looking for more here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Puckett at second. Ken Herbeck at first base. Swung on and missed. Strike 3, and Moses goes down. That's only the 2nd strikeout by Angel pitchers this afternoon. Mets leading, and the Blue Jays out ahead of the Royals. The Indians, who trailed early, took the lead, and the Orioles over the Tigers 1-0. Bringing up to date on the scores.
Well, the Orioles were a surprise last year, but now this year they're starting out very well again.
Shane Mack fouls it off. One out for the Twins. Kirby Puckett, with 3 singles and an RBI today, goes back to second, and Ken Herbeck, who has a home run with a runner on, trots back to first. And the Met game is over, and New York beats Montreal 5-4. So the Mets started the day in last place in the National League East, now 5-7 on the year. Montreal 7-5, so that's a tight division. Expos in front there. Strike 2, 0-2.
At the beginning of the year, we all sort of concede the Eastern Division to the Mets, but I think the slow start that they're off to, everybody's scratching their heads saying, are they really that good? Outstanding starting pitching. A lot like this Angel team in that they don't produce a lot of runs with singles and doubles.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Darryl Strawberry and Kevin Elster homer today, and no one ever has any objection to the Minnesota Twins or the New York Mets pitching staff. That's great. The question is the chemistry going to be there?
Yeah, in the home run or nothing type offense.
Drive hit to center field. Max Venable back there makes the catch. Puckett was halfway. He'll go back to second base. And there are 2 gone here in the 8th inning.
Now Max Venable filling in for Devon White, who started this game, makes a nice running catch. The Angels have improved their outfield defense a great deal in the last couple years.
Well, that'll bring up Junior Ortiz.
Ken Herbeck calls him Junior Senior Ortiz III.
And he's looking for his first hit this year. And the O in his hit column matches the O in his uniform. Came in for Harper defensively. Breaking ball is low, 1-0. So the Twins get the first 2 runners on. Now Eichhorn, trying to pitch out of it, has retired 2 batters. Ortiz is a good defensive catcher, quiet from the Pirates. Rounds it foul, and when Tim Laudner decided to lead, the Twins, Andy McPhail, had to get some help behind the plate in a hurry.
Well, that's why that's a rather sensitive situation, because when Tom Kelly gets approached, he said, I'm kind of happy with my everyday catcher, and Ortiz has done a nice job filling in.
Hasn't gotten a hit since last August. 1 ball, 1 strike. Time call. Puckett and Herbeck. In for the strike. 1-2.
The Pirates developed some catchers. Remember when Tony Pena was there, the strongest throwing arm in the National League for years, and then Ruben Rodriguez came along. He's now out of baseball. And then Junior Ortiz. They're all sort of out of the Tony Pena mold. Good throwing arms.
Reaches out and hits it on the ground to shortstop. Over to second for the force. Anderson to Ray, and the side is retired. And now we go to the 9th inning with the Twins leading it 8-0. Well, we go to the 9th inning.
Tough tour of duty for the Angels today, and Jack Howell here hitting against Candelaria. You have talk about a mismatch. Candelaria, who's the toughest against lefties, and Howell, who's had the toughest time hitting them.
Takes ball 1. Let's bring up to date on the changes. Gene Larkin now is moving to right field. Shane Mack moves from right to center field. Howell takes a fastball for a strike. So the only 2 players in the field for the Twins who have played the entire game, Kent Herbeck at first base and Fred Manrique at second. There have been changes everywhere else. And a hard smash to right center field will go all the way through to the wall. Howell on his way to second base and will stop there with a double. And that is the 6th hit of the game for the Angels.
Boy, and is that encouraging to Doug Rader. Yes, his team is behind 8-0, but he started Howell against David West today. Howell has had, as we mentioned, a tougher time with left-hand pitching than any other hitter in the American League. But he was 3 for 3 off West, and now gets a solid double off a tough lefty. So even in a losing cause, a base hit like that could be encouraging.
Looking for any signs, any kind of a silver lining, as Ken Anderson takes Ball one. Rick Aguilera now working in the Minnesota bullpen. Howell on at second base. 8-0 to score. The Twins lead. Anderson is 0 for 2 with a walk. Takes a strike 1-1. Brian Harvey throwing in the California bullpen. Angels have not managed more than 1 hit in any inning today. Fastball jams him, and it's fouled off to the right. 1-2. Popped up.
I got it!
Junior Ortiz yells, "I got it," and he does. And there's one gone here in the 9th inning.
You know, Dick, every player in the field has a little rhythm, a way that they get ready in case the ball is hit to him. Greg Gagney's is kind of unusual, almost a deep knee bend. And you imagine doing that about 120 pitches a game, 162 games a year. That's a lot of deep knee bends.
He's in shape. Brian Downing. Been on twice today. Once walk hit by a pitch in the 5th inning. 0 for 2 officially. Looks at a breaking ball. The Twins have already had 1 shared shutout this season. It was April 11th when Kevin Tapani, Gary Wayne, Terry Leach, and Rick Aguilera, 4 pitchers combined for a 3-0 victory over the A's. In fact, it was the only loss Oakland had suffered before last night's near perfect game by Brian Holman of Seattle. 1 out, runner at second base. 1-0 the count to Downing. Fly ball, short center field. Center fielder Mack calls everyone off and nearly overruns the ball, but he holds on, out number 2.
A new experience for Shane Mack trying to judge a ball in this Metrodome. A lot of visiting outfielders have difficulty picking up the ball when they come in here. And now Shane waves off Gagney and Manrique. In a lot of ballparks as an outfielder, you see the ball off the bat and then you run to the spot where you think it'll come down. In a dome stadium, you can never take your eye off the ball.
Max Venable as the Angels down to their last out. John Candelaria trying to pick up a save and close the door. Ball gets away, no advance. Twins have outscored the Angels in this series 21-1. It was 13-1 last night. And they put this out of reach early today. 5 runs in the 1st inning. Home runs by Kent Hrbek and Randy Bush. Foul ball out of play. Candelaria will pick up his first save of the season. And Dave West's earned run average will drop below the 2-run mark.
That's 2 good outings that West has had now against the Angels. He lost to them last weekend in Anaheim, but pitched 6 innings, and the 2 runs he gave up were unearned.
Here's the 1-1 to Venable on the corner. Candelaria.
If he gets that breaking ball over like that, he is unhittable for a left-hand hitter. He'll hit his fastball once in a while, but very seldom the curve.
Crowd now on its feet. Wants the 3rd strike here. Two balls and 2 strikes. Candelaria's last save was early May in 1988 when he was with the Yankees against the White Sox.